Carl here. So one common question I get asked a lot is, am I in a toxic relationship, or how do I know this particular relationship is toxic? And it is a difficult question to answer because there's so many factors which influence it, but the answer is kind of in the question. Now, before I go into that, I want to just say that in terms of my use of the word toxic, I'm not referring to labeling a person as toxic, because that's not fair. You know, our personality and how we react and how we relate to other people is informed by our attachment with our parents, all our life experiences, all the struggles that we face, and all the difficulties that we may have gone through leading up to this point in our life now. And it does shape our personality and our perceptions and our reactions and everything else. And those behaviours could be perceived as toxic, or they could be having a toxic effect on another person. That's not to say that we can just easily label a person as toxic, because it's not fair, because again, we've just been exposed to all these things in life, and some people are lucky they were brought up in a relatively positive environment, or they were exposed to positive people so they could regulate their reactions and engage with people in a healthier way. Not everybody has that. Not everyone is brought up in a secure environment, and other people may have been brought up and they're exposed to narcissism or other selfish behaviours or anything like that, and that could shape their personality and then affect their ability to relate to other people. Now, the question, how do I know I'm in a toxic relationship? And there are two key indicators that I look at when I'm working with clients, and that's chronic stress and chronic self-doubt. Now, chronic stress could be the product of anticipation, of conflict, of rows, and if there's regular rows and regular disagreements in a relationship, those experiences stay with us, and we become stressed because we're kind of waiting for the next experience. But it's also a byproduct of not being able to express ourselves, and it is another trait of a relationship where there is toxicity, where open communication is not really permitted, it's shut down. All of a sudden people become quite anxious because they have something important to say. They want to stand up for themselves, they want to express themselves, but they can't, and that gets bottled up, and it does have a psychosomatic effect on people. Sometimes they are chronically stressed, the blood pressure goes through the roof, and also that their heart starts to race the next time there's another conflict, because they know they want to say something but they may not be able to. But then the second characteristic is chronic self-doubt, and this is when you're just unsure of yourself, which is why you're asking the question in the first place. How do I know? There's that uncertainty is telling you something, you know, and it's important to understand or look, are you having that uncertainty in every other relationship in your life? And if it is, then maybe it is more you, or maybe not this particular relationship. But if you are uncertain about this very specific relationship, then you need to listen to that. Maybe there's a strong truth to it. But the uncertainty or the self-doubt could be tied in with fears around what would happen if I stand up to this person, what would happen if I walked away from this relationship. And I find with my clients, the biggest fear is very much the judgment of other people labeling you as a bad person because you walked away from this relationship, and or fearful of what the person you're in this relationship with may speak bad of you. They may have start spreading rumours and all the rest, and that's a real fear that a lot of my clients have. Now, in some cases it just doesn't happen. In other cases, when it does happen, I always encourage my clients, especially if they have a circle of friends or there's a close group of people and you've fallen out with someone who you perceive to be toxic, have faith in your friends to know who you really are. Often they're very fearful that someone will take a side, or they'll believe the lies or believe whatever else is being spread as a result of the breakup of the relationship. But you have to have faith in your friends. They know who you are, and all you can do is invest time in your relationships with other people, enough one-to-one time so they know you, know who you are, and so they can form their own opinions and they don't be biased or influenced by the opinions of other people. So that fear of judgment, fear of criticism, fear of being labelled, fear of emotional blackmail, these are all driving self-doubt, which can also be fueling chronic stress. And I think that's they do feed off each other. Chronic stress and chronic self-doubt. You know, you're doubtful if you're in a state of stress. You're not going to be able to think clearly. You start doubting yourself. You could be stressing because you can't find mental clarity about this issue. So there are other characteristics of toxic relationships, and I mean, I could talk about it for hours. I'm going to actually have a webinar on it pretty soon. You'll see details up on the website and the mailing list. But just for now, look for chronic stress and look for chronic self-doubt. You may not have the two of them, but maybe just be self-doubt, that bit where you're constantly thinking about the relationship. Are you sure about it? Is it right? Are they right for you? Are they treating you right? Are you know, is there uncertainty around what they're trying to say to you? Have they got a communication style which is not direct, which is passive aggressive? That could be leading to self-doubt. So assess the relationship, but use those as starting points. Chronic stress and chronic self-doubt. So I'm going to shut off. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Take care. Bye bye.